Hello, everyone, my fellow data enthusiasts, data analysts, data scientists, data anything that you want to be. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Jeks Analytics, your go-to destination for all things data-driven. I'm your host, Jeks, and I'm thrilled to be with you today in my video. I'll be walking you through the creation of the renowned business analytics dashboard that we did, as I promised. But hey, if you are new here and happens to be your first time tuning into my YouTube tutorials, don't forget, please, to hit the red subscribe button and make it your best friend. That way you won't miss any of my educational content. And for those of you who have been with me through the data journey, if you're excited as I am, diving into this dashboard tutorial, I will give you hit also the like button. Trust me, the quickest way to ensure that you are in this smooth ride with me is through that button. Thank you very much, and let's hop in. Welcome to once again to my channel. Now we'll be looking at, we'll start from the very scratch, how we can upload, how we can get our data set and do everything. So I don't know if you are, for those of us that are new to Power BI, what you need to do is to download Power BI. You can download it either from Windows app on your PC, or you can just type Power BI desktop download on your Google. You should see the latest version and download it from there. When you download it, just open it. I think you may need to create an account, a personal account. Maybe you can use your personal email. The difference, you can still access your desktop, but the difference with school or organizational email is you will not have it to, you can publish it like except in the public domain. So that's like the difference. So, but if you already have maybe like a school account that you have, or you're working in a company, so you can use your company email to sign up for your Power BI, then that would be the best approach to it. But regardless, you can still access the Power BI desktop. So our data set is already from the Power BI sample data set, so we didn't get the data set from anywhere. That's why it's going to be easy for us to work with, and also for you to see that you mustn't necessarily need to source for data. If you are on the learning stage, you can just easily use the sample data that we have here. So I'm just going to walk us through some of the basics as well. You can see we have so many ways you can import. You can import via Excel. You can import using SQL Server. You can also create your own table directly on Power BI platform, or you can also get a sample data set from the Power BI. So just some few things that I may need to walk us through. We have the get data. So from here, you see common data source. So if maybe the data set is already in Excel, we'll follow through Excel. If it is in CSV, we'll follow CSV or text, if you can see what I'm showing. There is also another way. We can also import via the web channel. For instance, some of the databases online, public databases online. It could be that of the WHO. It could be, for instance, those in the UK Office of National Statistics. You know, if some of these databases or streams can be streamed, or if you have a SharePoint as well. So these are so many channels you can also, there's also a Power BI dataset. So it will be another, I'll create a special video to explain some of these basics, you know, because there's a whole lot to initiate for especially for those that are just starting. So that won't be a problem. But for this particular video, I'm only going to focus on how we're able to build our dashboard so that we can have some guidelines and some flow in our tutorial today. So so that's for the importation of dataset and all that. We'll explain some of these things one after the other in our subsequent videos, and so you can have a ground knowledge of all of them. So I'm just going to go straight to the sample dataset. So we'll load the sample dataset and see what they have. This is where we can pick up our dataset. And I'm giving a disclaimer now, because of these data sometimes can be updated. Some of them are, you know, if probably what we had when I built the dashboard, some of them might have changed, you know, because either that they are being maintained or so. So it depends on when you're watching this video, but just have the mindset that this data set there is possibility that some of the data in them must have changed. You know, so this is that particular data set that we'll use in the particular data set that we'll use in the dashboard. That is this data set. So I'm gonna click on it. So it's usually a good practice to see what is it that you are bringing in to your Power BI. Just like a preview of what the data set is like, regardless of the data, whether it is your own data or from like this one, sample data, there is always a chance for you to at least check what is that thing that you are bringing in before you bring it in. So we can also see some of the columns just for you to have a look at. I think it's usually a size of either 200 that is being truncated, or like just few sizes that are being shown, you know, either 20 lines or so, just for you to have a look at it, and then across the column, just to have a glance of it. So now, in some cases where we need to clean our data sets, let's say you are working with a data set that was gotten from maybe a mobile app or something, definitely that data set is going to be dirty. So you may need to transform them. Or if it is already a processed data set that you've done, maybe you've done the cleaning or the segmenting prior before bringing into Power BI. So you just go quickly to load. But just for the sake of tutorial, I'm going to click on transform, just to show us, you know, the steps on how we can have a look, have a feel of our data set and what our data set is all about and what it looks like. So I'm going to click on transform data. Yeah, so after transform data, after that, then when we are done with every other thing, we can then load that data set into the Power BI. or I can as well still load it directly. But let's go with the transform data. So to show you how some of these things are done. So click on transform data, it takes us to the Power Query. So the Power Query is more like where we clean our data, we see our data, we remove unwanted column, we rename column according to how, so that's more like where we touch the data set in a whole, like say to pre-process the data set before we start visualization. So that's what this part is all about. And that's what Power Query is all about. All right. So we are back to the Power Query. So first thing I need us to understand is we can have the choice to change the name of our table starting from here. So either you double click here, or you right click and then rename. We can right click here and rename the name of the table, or we can double click here and maybe let's call it business data. All right. Then again, these are also steps that would each steps that we take will be applied here. So these are the steps that Power BI has automatically applied to the data set. Normally, when we bring in data set of recent, Power BI applies some automatic steps. One of them is to change to respective data types, or that's why you see change type. So it gives it name to each of the steps that you take. Another automatic step in cases where you have a a row, the first row that is not the headers or that is empty. So Power BI will automatically take the second row, take the first row as the header, so and then skip the empty column heads. So these are like few automatic steps that Power BI takes. So this is also I'm just going to give us the structure of what the Power Query looks like. In our next video, when we talk about how to clean data, we'll go into details. So I'm just going to show some few things about the Power Query, and I've told us about changing of the name of the table, the steps, each steps that we take will be applied here. And this is also another place, if I forget, another place where you can change the name. Either you just simply change it here, or double click, or you right click. So 3 ways now. Then I will also come to like I said, we'll have a dedicated video for data cleaning and data processing. That's where we'll talk about each of these tabs and the usages and all that. But the few basics ones we'll just highlight here. So one of them is change of data type. So let's assume this is not what we want. Maybe you want a date or something, or maybe like for numbers, let's say we want to put it in another number, in another data types, let's say from fraction to whole number, or from whole number to fraction, or from fraction to percentage, depends on what we want and how we want that the look and feel of that data set. So, but before all this, as a data analyst or as a business analyst, it is assumed that you have at least a basic knowledge of the data you're working with, or the data you're working on. In the real sense of things, you are supposed to know the data, and where you don't know, you ask questions. In the professional setting, you ask questions so you understand each and every one of your features and their function, so you know how to best bring out their analytics from them. So when you see 1.2 like we have here, that means it's a decimal number column. Where you see fixed decimal, this is usually for money columns. Instead of having so many like let's say 3-4 decimal places in a currency or money column, you use just fixed decimal number. What that means is it will Power BI will automatically put those decimals into 2 decimal places. 2, not 1, not 0, 2. So even if it is just, for instance, £100, it's gonna be 100.00. That's what it does. So it puts this in a normal money or currency setting for those that are used to Excel. In Excel, it is the accounting format. If we are used to Excel, then why we have normal numeric as the whole number, and then fraction as day. So these can also be found in Excel. I'm not here to talk about Excel, but it's just to help you to connect what probably you used to know in Excel and what it represents here. Then we also have percentage, we have date time, and then we have dates. So there is date time, there is date. Date means it's only going to show you only the date structure of that date. Only the date, which comprises of the day, the month, and then the year, the way it is. But date time brings in the time. So these are cases where maybe you are taking temperature of a room in a day. So it's not going to be one temperature in a day. It might be different temperatures with varying time differences or varying timestamps in a particular day. So such cases you use date time, because you're not only looking at the date, you're also considering the time. So it all depends on the usage as well. So, but in most cases, it's just date. You just stick to your date. But I'm just saying cases where you need to stick to. They also, you might as well separate them. It depends on your choice. Separate them into date and time. So you put the other one in date and then you put the other one in time. It depends on. But I think what will be a better practice is according to what you are doing. So like I said, if it involves time, you use date time. If it involves date, use data, you use date, because Power BI has this intelligence of handling. It has internal time intelligence of handling date and time. It can even split it into day, month, day of the month, day of the week, and all that. When we get to the visualization side, I will show you what I mean by this particular time intelligence. Also time zone for places. Let's say you are working in your Power BI setting is let's say you're working in London and you are in London, you're working for a company in US, for instance. So maybe their time might be a bit like different from your time. So there are cases where you may need to apply the time zone and stuff like that. That will be on a deeper level when we talk about that. Then text is just simply saying numeric, alpha, just simply text values, which is like categorical. So that's why we see all this. So with these explanations, you'll be able to understand what all these little icons. Let me show you. So you see, are you seeing that little box? These little boxes. So that's what you click to change to that particular data types the way you want. Let's take, for instance, unit sold is money. Sorry, the unit sold is whole number, right? So I can decide to make it whole number, but there are cases, like I said, is also according to businesses. So we saw 0.5, where did I see that? So we saw 0.5 here. So it depends on what that means. So the best way is either to ask question, why is the unit in 0.5? Always get to ask questions to understand the data before you just change anything. It's always good to collaborate with your stakeholders or the people you are working with. It's always good. It's a good practice. Then price. So here is a price, so which means it's money. This is money. This is unit. This is money. So instead of leaving it in, it's just it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but because just to show you how you can change your data type for you to see the possibility of switching to different data types and how it looks like. It's not like I really need to, but because it's money, we can just put all the money to what? To, yeah, say, because like I say, Power BI has already applied all these things automatically. That's why it's asking, do I need to replace the current one? So I can the current step, but because that current step involves so many other columns, I might just decide to have it as a new step so I can easily trace back. Either I can decide to go back or delete that step or move forward with that. So let me just add it as a new step so we can easily trace what we've done. So we say add as a new step. So you see, so because it is still changing of data type, that's why it has, if I change it to another data types in a different case, we'll see change type 2. So that's the way it will be counting it. So because we've changed it to what is a money column, you see what I was saying about 2 decimal place. This was 33355, but now it's 3.0, meaning 0.0. There is no pence or there is no kobo, or there is no cent in it. It's just 3, absolute value. So that's usually what it means, and that's why we call it. That's why we see the dollar sign to represent the money column that it is. So this is also sales price, so we can switch it to fixed. So now because it's still the same step, that's why it's not changing again until maybe I do a different step that is not change type. And then that's where it will take another step. Well, because it is still the same thing that I'm doing, but on a different column. That's why it remains unchanged, because you are still applying. However, you will see that some things have changed here. So the first thing we did was manufacturing price. These are the things I need you to be very attentive to. So manufacturing price, so you can see currency type, because it's money. Now, I applied another step, which will show sales. So all the changes I'm applying are coming under this one line of code, which is what this is just Power BI translating what we are doing into code or into formula type. That is what we are seeing here. Just the things we are doing with our clicks, that is what is being translated automatically as a code or as a formula into the Power BI system. So just for you, so I also click here. You will see that if we change that of the gross sales, it will also switch to currency type. But I will show you guys something before. Let me just do this. So before I will show you that, I will just add to another fix. You see, the gross sales has been added, meaning that we have applied currency type on manufacturing, sales price, and then gross price. So let's say, for instance, this is just very few important things that I may need to add to, like the day we'll talk about data cleaning and data transformation is going to be a whole lot, because there is a whole lot to talk about here. But let me just give you just show you some magic, if I will call it that. Now, I've applied this to these three. Now, if I decide to let's assume I made a mistake. I don't want to apply it on this one, on this gross sales. So I want to go back to what I've done. So what I will do is I can just simply clean that step right from the code and still maintain. So remember, you have to understand how this coding works, or this formula works. I have to clean that last comma so that because I'm cleaning the last column. So the last column shouldn't end with comma. That's why I also marked that's why I also marked this comma, because it's the last column. If I'm cleaning only this one, I'll just clean from here to here, because the last of it is not supposed to have a comma, because it means comma means there is another argument you want to add to it, which is not in this case, because I want to make here as at now to be the last column that I've applied that. So what I will do is let's assume, like I said, that we made a mistake. We don't want to apply that step on this column. I can just clean it. the way I've marked it, I'll just clean it. If I clean it and then hit enter, this will fall back to what it was before, like a trace back. So you can see. So there are different ways. That's why you have to always flow with the formula. The changes you are making, you have to be, for you to be very good with your Power Query, you have to understand how to trace your steps back. For me, that's what makes you a Power Query expert. How to trace back, how to trace errors and how to trace back to some things, you know. But if I just clean only one step like this, that means all the whole columns that I've applied those things on will also be wiped. But because I just want to apply it only on a particular column, so I just went to that step and clean it. Now, there isn't much transformation here, so I'm only just using these to teach us in subsequent, like how to handle some of these things. So it's not like all these things I'm doing are really that necessary, but just to use it as a lesson, sorry, as a tutorial towards what we are doing. Now, one will ask, so what if I have first of all, you need I'll come to, after showing the data types, I'll come to show you also other structures of the Power BI, like how to see your rows, number of columns and all that, and what all this means. So it's just to add to it. Now, so let's assume I have like 60 columns. Is this all what all what I will be doing one by one? So when you ask yourself, is this what you will do in one by? So there are different ways to, you know, change these things, you know, if you get what I mean. So I can easily mark. So if I select this column, let's say I want to mark multiple columns. Go like select multiple columns. So I can click here, hold shift, and then go to, if there are consecutive columns that I want to mark. That consecutive means I want to mark from here through profit column. Then I'll just hold shift and then click on that last place I want to end the selection. So I'll click here. So from gross sales to profit will be selected. But if I want to select some columns in between, not consecutively, I can then hold my control and select the columns, the specific columns that I want to select. They may not really need to be consecutive or be by each other, but just selectively. So which is hold your control, then select those particular columns. So let's say I can select this, select this, select this. You see the difference. So control, if you want to individually select columns, but if you want to select serial columns, serial means like consecutively, like the way we did the first time from gross to. So you just, once you select from the beginning of the column you want to mark, hold your shift and go to the last of it and select. So let me repeat it again. I'll just select only the gross column. Let's say I want to select down to the profit. I'll just hold shift key, hold on it, press it down, then press the profit. It will mark all of them. And then you perform what you want to perform. Let's say you want to make a change on all of them. Something like that will just be applied. Another thing is the date. I've explained the date. I've explained this type. So January is a month. That's why it's anything that is in categorical means it's just text. They are text form of values. It's not number, it's text. So January, June, these are what text. That's why it's ABC. 1, 2, 3 means is whole number, like 2024. It can also mean 2014. So, but year, year is year. When you separate year away from the date, it becomes a numeric number, a numeric column. But the year inside the date is a property of a date. let's not just get it twisted, if you get what I mean. So I was also talking about understanding your data, because this is where you get to browse through your data and understand what is it that you've done. So the first thing we've explained the columns, then the changing of the types. Another thing is to understand how many rows do you have. So if it is more than 1,000, you'll be seeing 9999 plus, meaning Power BI will not tell you everything, will not show you the whole number of that column. So 99999 plus means, oh, it's over 1,000 column. That's when you see that. But because it is not up to 1,000, it can tell you the real number of rows. That's why we can see 700 rows and all that. And then this valid, all this means that there is no null or there is no empty value in all these columns. So they are all complete. They don't have any empty cell or row in all of them. That's why I see. And not just about, they don't also have one single error in all of them. So this green means it's also an indication that, okay, your data sets are in place, everything is all right, everything is okay, you don't need to. So it's just the first thing. For cases where you have none, it will not be up to 1,000. It will maybe tell you like 95% filled or 95% this, and then it will tell you the percentage that is empty. If there are also cases where there are some error, it will tell you the percentage that has error. And then this number we are seeing will not. So this is where you can also see the full this is where you can view your columns. For if you open your Power BI and you are not seeing this, please come to the View tab and then click on column quality. Now, if I deselect it, you will not see it. You see the difference. So if your Power BI is like this before, and you are not seeing what I've just said, so just come to the View tab and then click on column quality. That way you can see these things and all that. So maybe column distribution. So another thing is, this is just one way to kind of look at the nature of the columns that you have. So let's say, for instance, we click on this. So this is like column distribution. So it gives us a bit of information about that column. Now see what it says. 700 count, like count means rows. There is no single error, no empty, no so the distinct, this is very, very important. The distinct number means there are the distinct number in all of this. So there are 6 distinct number. Distinct means the number that appear just once. So those number that appear only just once, that's what it means. So like what I mean is, this is what I mean: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. Sorry, I misplaced it. The unique number is the number that appear only once. Yes, please. Why the distinct is the just the different numbers in that column. Let's not mix it up. So the distinct is telling us that there are 6 different numbers, which I have shown you now: 3, 5, 10, 120. There are cases where it's 1,000 or over 1,000, which you may not start seeing all of them. So maybe it will either maybe show you the first 200 or the first 1,000, depending. It might not show you everything at once. So this is like telling us everything about this column. So it's telling us it's 700 rows. There is no error, no empty. There are 6 distinct numbers or prices, because it's a price column or it's a currency column. And then there is no number that appeared only once. Remember, this unique means, is there a number that appeared just once? That's what that unique means. So none means, number that is not a number. Not a number. That is what NaN means. So is there a number that is 0? Is there a 0 number in that column? No. So the minimum number in that column is 3 and the maximum is, 260. So it's like a statistical summary of that column because it is what? A numeric column. Then it tells you on average, the manufacturing prices of all the products sold on average is 96. So it just the same thing that Excel does. Then standard deviation, how far are they from the mean? How far are they from the mean? That's like standard deviation. So so this really so this for numerical. Let's see how then it also gives you the distribution. So what this means is 10 has the highest occurrence. You can see is 22. So this thing is like the value distribution of that column. So there are a whole lot of products that are sold at 10. That one means. So out of 700, watch my two tip. 202 has 10 as their price. 202 events has 10 as their price, followed by 120 for 109, and then 250 for 109 again. So it's just like I said, little distribution of all this. I keep repeating myself because I know there's a whole lot to talk about here, which I don't really want us to drag to, but just I believe this is also important for us to understand Power BI, Power Query, and then have the look and feel of our data and how. So let's look at how the column is for numeric for text columns or categorical columns. So watch. So you see some of the things we're seeing in the other one are not, like, for instance, average, standard deviation, because this is already a text column. It won't tell us average and standard deviation for a text column, right? So that's what. So the same thing goes here again. There are 700 rows, no error, no empty column or cell, 6 different texts or distribute 6 different products, because let's deal with the product. So it means, let's say, oh, you want to know how many products are even in this. So these are just ways for you to go through that. So I usually call it like a backyard, a background. Go under the background of your data and understand your data. Because as a data analyst, you need to understand your data so you know how best to bring it out to the full. So now Distance is just telling us there are 6 different products, which is Parcel, Velo, VTT, Amarilla, and all that. So empty string, none. Unique string, no. I have told you what this unique means. Is there a product that just appeared only once? I want you to stick in your head. Minimum max this no minimum and max may not really apply technically to because in the actual sense, if it says that the maximum, if what we think is highest occurrence, that's not highest occurrence. So this just it may not really have much significance to a text column than to. So other things, look at this country has 5. So you don't think that every distinct is 6. It's just simply telling us that there are 5 different countries in that data set. The same goes with segments. So have 5 segments. So how many discount band do we have? 4, which is high, either is high, low, medium, or none. So these are just ways for you to understand. Let's see dates, how date is being read. So the same way, these 16 different dates. So the dates here are 16. So which means different days, different. So we have 16 different days. So if you have this 16 different days, there is possibility there is under one day, there is a whole lot of sales that went in under one day, considering that the role is 700. This is already giving idea of what has happened in that data set. Of course the minimum is the early date, the maximum is the later date. So look at the early date, 2013, and the later date there is 1st of December 2014. So this is like also telling us the period within that data set, which is from 1st September 2013 to so we can call it September 2013 to December 2014. So which is like 4 plus 12, that's 16 months of maybe business activity that went in there. So these are all like we can call it the sketches or schematics of how we can go through our data and understand what's going on. And I hope you have a grasp of what we have explained today. Yeah, and that's that. So there is no much, because this is already a preprocessed sample data set. So there isn't much to talk about in terms of data cleaning until when we have to deal separately on how to clean data properly. So after you've done all your transformation and all that, we can just do close and apply. Always do close, and if you click here and just say close, everything that you've done may now apply. Or if you just say close, so but you may not need to click on the drop down, just click on this close and apply. Once you click close and apply, everything will apply. Every changes that you've made will apply to that data set. So you can see all the changes that have been applied to the data set. And this is what we have. So that data set is this. So another explanation before we go into building our charts is also for you to understand some of this sign. Of course, this summation sign is simply saying that, oh, this feature is a numeric feature. And what that tells you, it gives you an idea of how to handle such features or such columns. So this is a numeric column, this is a categorical column. This is a date column. So what I was telling you about time intelligence, so you see that Power BI recognizes, so you see how it combines. Remember, we had a month name. So we may not necessarily need month name and month number in our analysis. We may not need them because we have that month here and that quarter. So that's the time intelligence I was telling you about, that inbuilt time intelligence Power BI has about date column. So automatically it tells us, it categorizes those dates according to month, day, quarter, and year on its own. And if you also want to do date hierarchy and stuff like that, when we are doing our visualization, we'll come to that. Then again, just before we wrap up for this particular phase, I want to also show us the table view of your. So this is the report view, this is the table view, and this is the model view. So table view is more like, the way you see your data in Excel. So if maybe like you have something to easily check in that Excel spreadsheet form, so just easily go for that particular data or date or table. Just go to the table view and look at, okay, what is it? Okay, is there anything that is missing? Is there, these are just, you can even sort or filter, or you can, there are a lot of things you can do. I can filter this date. Yeah, I can filter this date. Let's say I want it between so and so. These are like some of the things that you can do on that data set. Then for model view, because it's a simple flat table, that's why I didn't bother create. We'll also dedicate another video for how to build data modeling and all that. So there is a whole lot to talk about. So, but let's just focus on how we're able to do our dashboard, then more like a reverse knowledge, and then we'll come back and then start from the scratch everything that we think you need to know. As time goes on, we'll be putting all of them, and also with your suggestions, because I'll also be looking forward to knowing your difficult areas in your learning development. Yeah, so this is the visualization pane where you see all the charts. Some of these ones you see are advanced charts that I brought in myself. We'll come to talk about, but the basic chart that you may probably have for yourself is the ones that are usually in these blue colors. Maybe that will stop here, or that will stop here. These ones, I imported them, these visuals, myself from the market, so which is also a topic on its own. So this is where we can start building dashboard and there and there. So in our next phase, we'll then start building our dashboard.